All wings report in.
HouseDog, standing by.
Mother Goose, standing by.
Lowtech Tuck, standing by.
Lock S-foils in attack position. Animal Squadron ready for battle.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Animal Squadron podcast. You are here with your hairiest host, Mother Goose.
And Lowtech Tuck. Back again, ready to get it.
Yes. Ahsoka, Episode 2, Toil and something.
Toil and Trouble.
Toil and Trouble, hell yeah. I like these, like, Blank and Blake names. I'm wondering if they're going to keep it up for the whole series.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope they do.
Me too.
Yep.
So, before we dive deep into the episode, since we've recorded last, a major theory has popped up on the internet. I'm not sure who came up with the theory originally, but everyone's been talking about it. I figure, maybe we should throw our 2 cents in.
Okay.
The internet believes that Merrick, the Inquisitor, is actually Ezra.
Merrick, is he the one that shows up?
Mm-hmm. And fights Ahsoka in this episode?
Yeah. That's interesting.
So a lot of people really like this theory because we've already seen so many parallels to Rebels. If Merrick is Ezra, we could potentially see a Sabine versus Ezra fight, almost like Ahsoka versus Vader, where she doesn't want to accept it, but when it comes face to face, like she's forced to.
Oh man, that sounds heartbreaking. But then
right?
but what's the proof? Like, where did this theory come from? Like, why do they think it's Ezra?
I have literally no clue.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing that I'm having trouble with is like. I mean, stranger things have happened in Star Wars, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't necessarily because to me, he looks like the Inquisitor that's in Rebels Season 2.
Yes,
like the arc with Maul whenever they go to the Sith Temple, and that guy, as far as I know, doesn't actually die in that episode.
Right. I'm trying to think though. Is he? I think he's the one isn't he like flying away on his lightsaber helicopter?
Yeah, and he falls. Yeah, he does die.
Which
maybe.
doesn't necessarily mean he's dead, but
yeah,
that's the vibes I got.
Yeah, he does fall a long way down, so maybe. But I don't know. I mean, I would think that they are probably going to bring Ezra back as Ezra. That's what I think.
I agree. I think the theory's cool. I think it could create a super emotional moment, but I really don't think he's Ezra. Like, why would Ezra still be in our galaxy if Thrawn is not?
Yeah, exactly. And also, if he figured out a way to come back, Thrawn would have theoretically
found a way to come back. Yeah,
exactly. So I think it's more likely that Ezra is either still Ezra or that he's dead. Those are kind of my 2 theories.
I do think there's a chance that it might be Sam Witwicker under that mask.
Sam Witwicker?
Yes, I might have pronounced his last name incorrectly, but he is Starkiller in Force Unleashed, and he is Maul in Rebels and Clone Wars.
The actor.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't. So he said in or I think on one of his live streams recently that Dave Filoni has been considering bringing Starkiller back, and that he was considering bringing Starkiller to the Ahsoka series.
Okay, so you think that maybe that this Inquisitor is Starkiller?
Maybe, because he specifically said like that it didn't work out and it didn't happen, but like if he's under an NDA, of course he would have to say that.
Yeah, exactly, or else he'd get sued.
But he's for sure in the credits. Right now he's listed as additional voices in the credits. So we know he's in there somewhere. But I'm not entirely sold that it will be Starkiller. But I think that's why I said Sam instead of Galen, just because I think there's a chance they might be using him for something else.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Huh. Yeah. No, I'm really excited for this series, man. I really have no idea where it's gonna go.
Same.
I think that's part of the fun.
Right? Like, I don't know. I just, with a lot of Star Wars projects, like the sequels, after the first one, it's kind of like, okay, well, yeah, this is kind of how it's going to go. And, I mean, I'd say besides guessing Palpatine coming back, it played out pretty similar to what I thought.
Yeah.
But I just have no clue here, and I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I mean, I think for sure they're going to find Thrawn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be some sort of war.
Yeah.
But that's about it. That's pretty much where I'm at. That's all I got.
Same. Well, should we get into this episode?
Yep.
No.
Which, last episode, you were going to say something about people getting stabbed and definitely dying.
Yes. Kylo Ren, Reva twice, the Grand Inquisitor, I'm trying to think. Fennec Shan got shot in the stomach. Kylo Ren also got shot in the stomach, and all of these people totally died every single time. Oh, and Sabine, of course, who got stabbed. And we must mourn her because she died, clearly. No, I've been thinking about it, and for all of these, yeah, maybe there's not a good explanation for why. Like, I mean, the Grand Inquisitor, he said he has 2 stomachs, and that's why he survived. And Sabine got stabbed in the side, so that's why she survived. But I went and rewatched the clip of Qui-Gon Jinn getting stabbed. It's like right in the middle. I think Maul severed his spine.
Yeah, I think so too. And also, like, it's also higher up, like more toward the chest. And so, yeah, I would agree with that. I think it is probably more of his spine got severed.
Right. And besides most of these examples that I brought up, these people got pretty much immediate medical attention. Like when Kylo got stabbed, Rey force healed him. Sabine got rushed off to the hospital right away. Boba Fett saved Fennec. The only one that we really don't know is Reva for like both her stabs.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll find out.
Yeah, unfortunately with Reva, I don't know if we'll ever get a good explanation because I don't really think she's coming back. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope she does. Like, I think it would have been better in the Kenobi series if she had died. But saying she didn't, I do hope we get at least some conclusion to that story at some point. Even in a comic, I'd be fine with.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool.
How did you feel about... So we see Sabine's injury, and it seems to just... I mean, it kind of just looks like a burn mark. Mm-hmm. So my girlfriend she's a med student right now, and that really made her mad because she's like, the skin wouldn't just reconnect. Like, I understand there being a hole. I understand it, like it should have cauterized around the hole where the saber is. She should have a big hole in her side right now. And I was like,
a
I'm
Looney
sorry.
Tune. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't have an answer for that. My only guess is medical future medical technology.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like maybe they were able to like plant some skin in there. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And fix it. I don't know. I don't know. We're gonna ignore that.
Yes, for sure. Well, I know you've got a lot of notes for us. What do you have first, my friend?
Well, what I had first is Sabine's alive.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
She be living.
But then the second one is this ice cold line from Ahsoka when she is asking about what happened, and Sabine just kind of keeps like letting her down. It's like like Well, like, you made a backup copy, didn't you? Yeah, but the droids destroyed it. Okay. And then when and then it's just like, she asks her, I think, like 3 questions, and every single one, it's the negative.
Mm-hmm.
And then anyway, and so Ahsoka's like, pretty much, I need to leave whenever she finds out there's 2 HK droids.
Yeah.
And Sabine's like, well, let me come with you. And then Ahsoka goes, you've done enough.
I know.
I was like,
I know.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
same. Same.
Got him.
My girlfriend and I, we like looked at each other and just like let out the biggest gasps.
Yeah. I was just like, man, that is ice cold. Dadgum.
It is. And poor Sabine, because like, we'll talk about it as it goes, but Huyang does not let her eat down easy either.
No, not at all. But also, I've got many notes. I actually, from that scene, I come away with it on Huyang's side, and I'll explain
Yeah.
why.
No, I totally agree.
Yep.
Do you have anything before we jump to, I believe it's Shin and Balin. That's his name.
I think actually before that, Ahsoka goes to Sabine's place.
Gotcha, okay.
And I mean, she just cuts the HK droid's head off and then brings it back.
Yes, so I did want to ask, Ahsoka has a new Force ability that we haven't seen her use before, at least before the series.
Yeah, the Force memory thing.
Yeah, to sense the Force echoes.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of got that vibe in the first episode, but, you know, I wasn't too sure. And then this episode, she used it a lot more, and I was like, okay, yeah, she definitely has this ability.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I think it's cool. I'm not real sure where she learned it, but maybe it's one of those things that as you get more in tune with the Force, you just discover things like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think the only other Jedi we know that has this ability is Cal.
Yeah.
At least that I can think of.
And I think in the game, it's a rare ability, too. Like, it's supposed to be, like, not many Jedi can do that.
Right.
So, I don't know.
To me, I mean, Ahsoka gets a pass. She literally was revived by the Force itself.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, whenever she was revived by the light side, like, it's quite possible that she just gave her X amount of powers or whatever.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
But no, I think that was the only thing I had. Oh, the HK droid, her line where she's like, I was hoping you'd be here. Mm-hmm. Like, that just felt like classic Ahsoka to me.
Yep, a little bit of sass. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go to the hospital with the head, and then, like, just real quick, the only real line I have in that one, I mean, obviously they plug it up, they try to get information out of it, and Sabine's like, well, no, Huyang's like, pretty much, what happens if you don't get the power level right? And Sabine's like, well, the head'll explode. He's like, the head'll explode? And then Hera says, like, there's no time to relocate, like, just plug it in, like, just do it.
Yeah.
And Huyang's like, well, that's because you're a hologram.
Uh-huh. Yep, I have that too.
I just really liked that. I thought that was really funny.
Such a good line.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's hilarious.
I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah, so in this scene, like, I think it makes perfect sense that, like, Huyang's freaking out while Ahsoka and Sabine are just straight chilling because they have the Force. Like, they will be able to tell exactly when they need to pull it out.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that Huyang was so, like, I think it fit that he was so worried and pulled it out himself. That also makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, well, and also, too, just what he's programmed for. I'm sure he pulls the cord because he's worried about them blowing up. Like, he's worried about everyone losing their life.
I'm sure Ahsoka has a backup of him on her ship. Like,
yeah,
he
exactly.
would be fine.
Yeah, he'd be all right. But I don't know. I really like Huyang. He's awesome.
Darn it! If he dies in this show, I'm gonna be so sad.
You're gonna lose it.
I wasn't even thinking about, like, I've been thinking about, like, potentially Ezra, Sabine, and Ahsoka. Those three I've been thinking about, like, okay, prepare yourself emotionally. There's a chance all of them might die. I wasn't even thinking about Huang.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if they will, though. I mean, he'd be like the easiest character to kill of all of them. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think they'll do it. Or if they do it, they'll bring him back somehow, I'm sure.
That is true. We literally just talked about how they have a backup of him somewhere. I forgot.
And then also, even if they do kill him, hey man, it's been 25,000 years. That's a pretty good run.
He's lived a good life.
Mm-hmm.
And then we find out it's on good old Corellia.
Yep.
That, I don't know. Just little things like that. I get very, very excited to hear that name. And for people that don't know, that's where Han Solo's from, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, it is where he's from. And then it's also where pretty much all of the Imperial ships were built.
Mm-hmm.
It's the biggest shipyard in the galaxy, basically. The whole planet's a shipyard, I think, pretty much.
Yeah. Besides the crime.
Yep.
And the giant worm ladies.
Yep.
Well, are we ready to go to Shin and Balin?
Yeah. Yeah, and this is where I have several notes here.
Great. Well, I have one main note just at the beginning that we didn't. I wish I would have thought of last time. Just a simple, their fits are fire. I really like the design of, like, it's almost like armor underneath their robes. Looks really good.
Oh yeah, no, I like it. It's almost like kind of a medieval kind of look. I just think it's cool.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of, like, Clone Wars Jedi armor.
Yeah, yeah, which actually certainly could be.
Yeah.
As far as Balin goes, I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that. Good point.
Because I mean, he definitely fought in the Clone War.
Mm-hmm.
If he didn't leave till Order 66, so.
Yeah. Well, what do you have, my friend?
So first thing I have is, somebody says that the star map is from like an ancient people.
Mm-hmm.
And they're from a distant galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when I was like, interesting. You know, like, as always, like we always talk about, like, I love Star Wars ancient cultures, and just the past couple of years, like, how much we've gotten of them.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they keep doing that. I really would love more information on them.
For sure.
But anyway, as far as ancient people from a distant galaxy, I was really reminded of, like, the Rakata, especially.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I thought that was exciting.
Especially, like, if they're, we don't really know much about these people, if they're more light side or dark side, but I mean, if Morgan's going after them, it kind of feels like they maybe were more dark side leaning, which would fit with the Rakata as well. Yeah,
like the Zepho, for instance, like, that wouldn't make as much sense because they were pretty clearly light side.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I don't know, but if it is the Rakata, I'd love to see live action Rakata. I don't know, I'd be very interested.
Right.
Or like see like old Rakata ruins or something. I don't know, I just think it'd be cool.
Yeah.
Also, this is more of a question, but like the star map, I think it's pretty interesting just because whenever it's in the Night Sister Temple, whenever Morgan gets her hands on it, the map expands, and expands like big time.
Right.
And so I wonder if, does it react to the energy of being in like a Night Sister temple? Like, does it react to Force magic? Or does it just fit whatever environment it's in?
Well, I think this is, I don't think this is Night Sisters. I think this is the one where, because you're talking about the almost like they're outside and there's all those like rocks and stuff, and I think, isn't that the place that Morgan says it was built by this ancient civilization?
Yeah, I thought that was the Night Sister Temple. I mean, it looks a lot like the Night Sister Temple that Ahsoka's in at the start. I don't think it's the same place, but it's very similar in style.
So that makes me think, were these ancient civilization, were they the ones that taught the Night Sisters?
Maybe. Or also, if it's not a Night Sister temple and it's more of just like a general Force Stonehenge kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know,
maybe.
Like, did that come from an ancient culture that, you know, taught other beings about the Force in one way or another?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But just really the main thing is the star map. Like, I wonder if it expands because of energy or if it just fits its environment. Because, I mean, the map is massive in this scene compared to when we first see it.
I think it's environmental because there's the scene where Balin puts it onto the pedestal, and it's almost like it fits perfectly into place.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was.
But then it
meant
starts
for
out
there.
small until Morgan touches it.
Right. Oh yes, and we see underneath her night witch, like the green magic.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I think it might be a mix of both.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know, just a question. Thought it was interesting. Oh, I forgot to look this up. Dadgummit. But Pathway to Peridia.
Mm-hmm.
That it's a legend of the children of the Jedi Temple.
I don't think we've heard it at all.
I gotta know what that is, man.
Oh, same. I just I don't think we've ever heard anything like it.
Yeah, did you Google it?
I did not, but I can.
I'm gonna do it real quick. Don't worry about it.
Gotcha.
Pathway to
while you do that, I'm gonna talk about just the big star map, like you'd mentioned. I really liked that the galaxy that the like yellow line goes to from the Star Wars galaxy was like you had a circle around it, and there were like Purgle designs on it, which I think just helps confirm that like this is the Purgle's natural migration pattern, maybe between either these two galaxies or potentially maybe even more.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, well, actually we do know that that's how Ezra and Thrawn got there, was Purgle.
Right.
So, yeah, that's interesting. By the way, the Pathway to Peridia thing, it's one site on Wikipedia is from Ahsoka.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah,
it's brand new. Brand spanking new.
So a lot of people have thought that maybe the reason we don't see a lot of these characters in the sequel trilogy is the original theory was that all of these characters end up fighting or stuck in the unknown regions of the Star Wars galaxy. But now I'm thinking potentially maybe they get stuck also in a whole nother galaxy by the end.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to get out, though, somehow, because there's going to have to be, you know, a place for the movie to take place.
Right.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, also, another thing in this scene that I thought was interesting is Morgan mentions that Thrawn is calling out to her.
Yes, I wanted to talk about this too.
Do you think Thrawn's Force sensitive? A little bit?
My theory is that it's not Thrawn.
And who is it?
I don't know, but have you seen Shang-Chi? The Marvel movie?
No, I haven't.
So, minor, well, okay. Yeah, I don't think this is too crazy, because it's pretty easy to put together in the movie, but minor spoilers for Shang-Chi. There's this voice that's calling out to his father the whole movie, and he thinks it's someone, and it ends up not being who he thought it was, and it's a demon creature that's trying to get him to let him out of his prison.
So, like, you think it's possible that Thrawn's been dead this whole time, and it's something else?
I don't know if he's dead. I just don't know if it's... I don't know if it's him calling out to her. I don't know if Thrawn even cares about coming back personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the other thing I think is interesting is Morgan also says something about threads of fate.
Mm-hmm.
And so I also wonder, too, if maybe Thrawn's not Force sensitive, but maybe that's a Night Sister power, where you can you can kind of, like, spy on people. Like, you can kind of, you know, he may not be calling out to her, but she can, like, put feelers out and find him.
That's a good point.
So I don't know, because that seems like a force magic power, maybe.
Right. So the only other person I thought that it might be Ezra.
But also, why would he be calling out to Morgan?
I'm totally open to the idea that Ezra's maybe not on the light side anymore.
Yeah, but also, I mean, like, how would he even know who she is?
Well, if he's chilling with Thrawn, and Thrawn's maybe I don't think Thrawn would corrupt Ezra to the dark side, but let's say they're just hanging out and Ezra probably naturally did. Maybe, if Thrawn knows Morgan, he could probably tell Ezra, like, hey, you need to start reaching out to this person.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know,
but
it was just a question I had to ask.
For sure. I wanted to talk about that too, because it's one of those mysteries that I'm very excited to find out the answers for.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Also, what Shin and Balin have a conversation in this scene, and I thought that it was kind of enlightening to their character a little bit, because Shin asks Balin, like, what happens when we find Thrawn?
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, for some people, war. For some people, a new beginning. And then she says, what about us? And then he says, power like you've never imagined.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I just find that, because one thing, like, just dissecting the line, I think it's very interesting that, like, Shin doesn't know why they're trying to find Thrawn.
Right.
And, like, Balin's obviously keeping that from her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of interesting to me. And then also, like, what do they mean by power? Like, are they talking, like, political power? Like, government power?
I'm thinking it's the world between worlds, but at the same time, how would Thrawn give them that power?
Yeah, well, and also, like, let's say Thrawn comes back and takes over the entire galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that he owes them anything.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. That's just another plot point that I'm kind of, like, very interested how that turns out. Also, just Shin's concern kind of also, to me, pointed to that she might not be completely evil in that line.
Right. I think we're going to see Shin return to the light. And I personally don't think Balin's going to survive.
Yeah, I could see that. Especially, like, if Balin died because of the dark side. Like, because of someone killing him. Like, say Morgan betrayed him or Thrawn betrays him. Then Shin would certainly come to the light side. And then also, I don't know. I also don't think that she was trying to kill Sabine, maybe.
Right. Like, she very particularly stabbed her in the side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I don't know. I don't think Shin's that evil.
Right.
We'll find out.
I don't think so either. I think she's just trying to follow her master.
Yeah, and then there's a line later, too, where I think that doubt does come from Balin, because I also don't think Balin's entirely evil either. Especially something he says at the end of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of makes me think that.
Yes, which I'm very excited to talk about that as well. But yeah, I'm gonna put this on the. Been keeping a little tally. We've got light side, Padawan braids, dark side, desire for power.
I like it.
So we're just keeping a little tally here.
We'll determine it later.
Do you have anything for this scene? Are you ready to move forward?
That's all I got. The next thing I have is Ahsoka and Hera on Corellia.
Hell yes.
Would you like to start us, or?
No, go ahead, my friend.
Okay. So, I mean, the first thing that we find out is that, well, they're talking to this businessman. I don't remember the businessman's name, and it's not really that important, I guess. But he runs the whole shipyard, right? And he explains that there are still Imperials there, which I thought was interesting. And whenever I watched it again, I kind of realized that he gives himself away. Did you realize that? Yeah, like whenever because he's talking about there's Imperial, there are still Imperials there, but if they're paid, they're happy, kind of. And then Hera asks him a question about like, well, where's your loyalty? And then he says, I'm a businessman. My loyalty is to my investors.
Yes.
Who are her investors?
Right.
Pray
I was
tell.
so mad that Hera didn't ask.
Well, but also his investor, it's because the question answers itself. His investor is Morgan.
Yeah.
And her family. They own the shipyard. That's been clear.
Right.
So yeah, anyway.
Just to dive a little deeper onto that line, I think he is right. I think most of the people there probably didn't care. Like, the average workers didn't care. But all it takes is a couple people in upper positions, to make things happen.
Yeah. And I think he's also saying that he doesn't care.
Right.
But it's just he's doing what he's paid to do. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
But on his line specifically, he doesn't just say, here at the shipyard. He says there are Imperials in every level of the new Republic government, which I think was a really good line.
Yeah, I do too. And I think we're going to see more of that. Like what we saw in Mandalorian Season 3, I think we're going to see more of that kind of stuff. A lot more like backroom hijinks, kind of Cold War spy game kind of thing.
Yes. And I also think we're going to see the Shadow Council again, but I think the Shadow Council is going to split. And I think that's where we're going to see the First Order. Because, like, we see them talking about Project Necromancy and stuff, while others are talking about, we need to bring Thrawn back. So clearly there's... And then obviously Gideon was like, well, what about my plan? But so there's already some divide there. And I think, like, we're going to start seeing divide, of course, in the New Republic as people start rejoining Thrawn's new empire. But I think we're also going to see the Shadow Council split a little bit. And I think we'll probably have Hux's father and that other guy, peace out to the unknown regions.
I could see that.
Anything else here, my friend?
Not really. I mean, the next scene, what we've been talking about happens. Like, obviously, the businessman is loyal to Morgan, and they try to kill Ahsoka and Hera.
Yeah. I love the droid that comes up, and she's like, I saw an H-Cray assassin droid. Yeah,
exactly. And it had such a high clearance, it stopped me from doing my job.
That's and it's on that ship right over there.
Yeah, exactly.
I loved that so much.
Yeah, the red droid's just tattling on everybody.
Yes. I also really loved the line where they were talking about we've got to talk about the hyperdrive, but which I'll backtrack to here in a second. But the guy's like, sorry, this is classified. And Hera's like, I'm a general. What do you mean it's classified?
Yeah, and he's like, well, it can't be open unless someone authorizes it. And she's like, I'm authorizing it. Open it.
Right. But also, 9 hyperdrives of Super Star Destroyer size.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Oh, dude, that giant hyperspace ring at the end. I mean, that thing is really cool. Honestly.
Yeah.
I'm very, very excited to see them power that bad boy up.
Same.
I want to see what happens.
Right. Well, Ahsoka, we get her jumping out a window to go face good old Merrick, and we got Hera running to go face, or to try and get a tracker on the ship. What did you think of these scenes?
So before we know that she's going to put a tracker on the ship, we see Chopper.
Of course, our boy.
Also, that boy is bloodthirsty.
Right.
The first thing he says, he's like, shoot it down. She's like, no, I can't shoot it down. We're over a city. No, dude.
And have you seen the translation of what he says after she says that?
No.
He says, like I care. We
I love Chopper.
love Chopper. He is the best droid.
He loves killing, man. He really does. But yeah, no, I mean, I was so excited to see Chop again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we skipped a scene, but we'll come back to it in a second.
Gotcha.
But with the Inquisitor thing, one thing I noticed with he and Ahsoka's fight is, did you notice like the HK droid is doing pretty good until it gets in the Inquisitor's way, and then both of them chop it in half, like at the same time?
Yes.
I thought that was really cool choreography. Yeah.
I did too. I love that Ahsoka like stabs it with her Shoto blade and like uses it as a shield.
Yeah, and then he just... Yep. Yeah, I thought that was cool. And then, probably my favorite thing Ahsoka has ever done is at the end whenever he throws his blade to cause a distraction and then starts running for the ship, and she's following him, and he jumps on the ship, and then obviously the saber's coming back, but when, and Ahsoka just doesn't even flinch. She just like moves and just like right past her face, and like that was just so cold, man. Like it reminded me of that famous clip of Kobe Bryant whenever he's playing defense on a guy, and the guy's about to like throw in the ball, so like from out of bounds to like start the play, and the guy's like trying to like fake him out, like he's like throwing the ball like in Kobe Bryant's face, like trying to like fake him out, and he's just staring at him, like just not even doing anything.
Nice.
And it's just like the man was ice cold, and like Ahsoka too. Like I think that's really cool.
Hell yeah, for sure.
Yep, got that dog in her.
Got the dog in her. I have one minor complaint, and I this may not be true, and I need to go back and watch it again. I think there's a single clip. She's holding her lightsaber, her Shoto blade backwards, which I was super excited to see. I think it like clips through her robe, like as an editing mistake, in video games where they're clipped together a little bit. I was like, no, dang it, and it's just real quick, but I need to go back and watch it again.
Yeah, the fight was still cool.
Yes, the fight was
I'm fine
cool
with it.
as hell. Like I said,
I'm fine with it.
With the crawl thing, if this is my biggest complaint, we're eating good.
It.
Yeah,
we will take it. Yeah. And then also, well, actually, yeah, I mean, obviously, Chopper gets the tracker on the thing.
Yes, I was going to see. So this might be a little confusing for people that maybe aren't as, like, enveloped in the Star Wars world and lore as we are. Do you want to describe the difference between, like, tracking someone just, like, normally through space and, like, having an actual tracking beacon on them? Because, obviously, until the sequels, it's impossible to track someone through hyperspace. So how hypothetically does this tracking beacon work compared to just normally tracking?
So with the normal tracking, as long as they don't enter hyperspace, it works. And I think that has to do with how it's attached. But I don't know. I mean, Star Wars isn't very clear on that. Right. I know there's two different types.
Right.
But like the one tracker that like normally you'll see a character, in atmosphere like plant or like throw on a ship like real quick. Those I don't think can hang on through hyperspace. But the way the beacon works is it emits a signal or some sort of beam or something that your ship picks up.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, while you can't technically track them through hyperspace, the second they get out of hyperspace, boom, you got a beacon, you got a location, you can go.
Right. And I think also the, like, normal tracking, what I've always imagined, and I could be wrong, is that it works like radar. Like, there's no, like, actual thing, but, you can see they're there. And so they're there, and then they go in hyperspace, and they're not there. And who knows in the galaxy where they end up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and that's why you always see, in Rebels, in the original trilogy. Well, yeah, especially that. Especially, like, the Empire era. You always see, like, the Rebels come in very quickly through hyperspace and then leave very quickly through hyperspace.
Gotta get that guerrilla warfare.
Yeah, it's so that they can't be found.
Yeah. Well, so I think I know what scene you're talking about. Do we need to jump back? Is this with Sabine and Huang?
Yeah.
It's a good scene.
I got some good notes. My first note says, "When did Hu Yang become my dad?" And it's whenever he says, "That's an excuse and a poor one."
Dang.
And then he also says, "The past is the past, move forward."
Right.
And that just, I don't know, it reminds me a lot of my dad.
Yes,
just the man was big on tough love, and Hu Yang carries that out. I like it. Building character.
For sure. So his line, because I know you didn't watch the trailers, his line where he says, "Perhaps it's time to build again," or to start again, or begin again, is in the trailer. And me and a lot of people thought he was talking to Ahsoka. And our theory was that he was talking about the Jedi Order. Because I think in the trailer, I could be wrong, she's talking about how the Jedi Order is gone. And then, it cuts to him saying, "Perhaps it's time to begin again." And man, they blue balled us with that one.
Yeah.
I was so torn because, like, I get what he's saying. It's very important to Sabine. But at the same time, I thought that line was supposed to have so much more importance.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I mean, maybe it's time to begin again. I didn't even write it down. Like, that's not even part of my notes.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he says it, but anyway.
Yeah, I was a little sad when I heard him say it there.
Yeah, but he's got so many fire lines in this thing. Like, the next thing he says is, like, "I have known many Padawans over the centuries, and I can safely say your aptitude for the Force would fall short of them all."
Right. Yes. Which makes me really happy because we talked about last episode how we weren't sure how we felt about Sabine being a Jedi, beginning her training, and now this makes sense. If her Force aptitude is so low, why, like, Kanan and Ezra never realized.
Yeah, but I think he's saying that to motivate her. Like, I think he's saying, like, because she's so down on herself, she's like, well, like, Ahsoka won't train me, blah, blah, blah. And basically what he's saying is that everything you're saying is an excuse. And, like, yes, you have no natural ability, but that means you have to work twice as hard. It's like kind of what he's telling her.
Yeah.
And then she says, like, well, I'll just quit wasting my time then. Or no, wait, no, I think he says she says, "I'll quit wasting." Is it your time or Ahsoka's time? Anyways.
Huang's time, specifically.
Yeah, and then he says, "Well, the only time you're wasting is your own."
Yeah.
And I just, my man with the tough love, man. It's, yeah, I really like it. I really see Hu Yang is, he's just being a good friend there.
Yeah, for sure.
He's just telling her what's up.
Yeah.
Tell her the truth, what she needs to hear.
And I think for me, I'm a little sensitive baby boy. I'd probably be crushed. I'd be like, "Oh man, I'm the worst out of 25,000 years of Jedi. I bet, okay, I get it, Huang. I'm done.
It's blasters for me."
But I think it was exactly what Sabine needed to hear.
Yeah, well, and I think too, again, just with Sabine's culture being a Mandalorian, I think she grew up more in that tough love culture too, and so I think that's also why Hu Yang knew that's how he had to talk to her.
Yeah,
to get her, like, to get through to her.
I agree.
You can't just hug and kiss her into getting better. Like, that's not going to work for someone like Sabine.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I think the last thing I have on this scene is just the fact that we all thought it was Ezra's lightsaber, but, like, Huang confirms it here. That's his lightsaber. But Sabine's made some modifications to it, which I thought was very Sabine.
Yeah, also, I'd love to see, like, what exact modifications she's made.
Same.
I mean, I guess what I'm going to have to do is pull up the
pictures.
The one from Rebels versus, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It'd be cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think next we have the scene where something we didn't talk about. I think it's either this scene or it happened before, is Hera directly asks Ahsoka to take Sabine back.
Yeah. Yeah, she does.
Yeah, which I just felt very mom of Hera, like a mom thing to do,
Yeah.
which I loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think we have the scene now where Ahsoka and Hera are talking after all of the like New Republic officers have come to arrest people.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Hera says, like, I don't even get it. How could someone still be loyal to the Empire?
Mm-hmm. And then
they have that whole talk.
Ahsoka says it's not loyalty, it's greed.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just another really good line.
Yep, solid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember much else from that scene though. I think it's pretty quick.
Yeah, my only note is, I hate the New Republic and the Rebellion. Those like white helmets, they're so dorky.
They do look very silly, and like also their blue, like their uniforms just aren't that cool. Like especially compared to the Imperial uniforms. The Empire looks way cooler.
Right.
Like, yeah.
They got
way
that drip.
Cooler. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. It never really bothered me when they were just rebels. But, like, now that they're, like, the official ruling government, it's like, you know, you got some money. You can update things a little bit.
Yeah, but I think also, too, it's one of those things where, I mean, they keep wearing the same uniforms because... Yeah, they're the New Republic now, but it's the uniforms that they've always had.
Right.
Yeah.
But
no matter how stupid they look.
I think that's everything I've got. We also have the... Oh, sorry. Do you have anything else?
For this scene or...
This scene.
Oh, no. No, because the next one, I'm just going to open up this scene with my one note, and it's something that Nicole said when we were watching it. And what she said is this Space Mulan? When Sabine's putting on the armor and, like, cutting her hair.
I need an edit of her, like, pulling her armor out and cutting her hair with that song in the background. I need it now!
It was, like, I mean, when you watch it, it's like, yeah, I mean, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
Looks a lot like Mulan.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
My mom and my girlfriend were both pissed at this scene because they loved Sabine's hair.
Yeah, her hair was pretty sick, honestly. Yeah. The long hair, yeah. But also, short hair is how Sabine always is.
Right, and I think it's because of the Mandalorian helmet, too. It's probably easier to wear it with short hair.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, you know, it's at least inferred that the helmet seals in Rebels and stuff. And so, I mean, it can't seal if you got a bunch of hair sticking out. So
Right.
I'm sure that's probably why.
I mean, you could just put it in a bun or whatever, but that's extra steps every time you take that helmet on and off.
And also, it's a helmet that's molded to your head. So
yeah.
I don't know if you can just put it in a bun.
Need a little bun hole in the back.
That seals also.
Yes, for sure. But no, Space Mulan, I love it. Great Nicole note.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it. You know, she even says her hair is more her, which I agree. And then comes my favorite thing between Ahsoka and Sabine so far is take us out, Padawan. Like I like that.
Yeah.
That made me smile.
That was really nice. So is that the end of all your notes, or just your notes with Ahsoka and...
That's it with Ahsoka and Sabine.
Gotcha.
I've only got one for the next scene with Balin and Shin and Morgan and
Great.
Malik.
So my next note is more of again, just a minor complaint. So this scene where Ahsoka comes and she meets Sabine, this is almost a shot-for-shot remake of the ending of Rebels. And I'm pretty sure maybe it's just a coincidence, maybe it's just a reference. Everyone thought that there was essentially 2 searches for Ezra. That the end of Rebels was the first search, they failed, and then this is the second search. Now it seems like the ending of Rebels and this scene here are the exact same scene. So my complaint is, if it is the exact same scene, we're missing out on Ahsoka's best fit. The white robes with the staff was so cool. We could have had that in live action, and they took it from us. Filoni, why?
Why? I mean, honestly, but also, how come it wouldn't just be two searches?
It is literally like shot for shot, exactly the same. Besides the outfit, like even with,
but also
Sabine going and like tapping, and like her fingers and like rubbing on Ezra's face, to her turning around and seeing Ahsoka waiting for her. Ahsoka's ship is in the exact same position. It feels just a little too close to be.
Yeah, I thought maybe it was just like, because there's a lot of almost shot for shot scenes in the 2 episodes of Ahsoka so far.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was like that. Just, it happens to be. I mean, it's similar on purpose for a little bit of fan service, but it's still like meant to be a separate event.
Yeah. Yeah, so that is really the only difference between the 2 is Ahsoka's outfit, and so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Which I'm hoping we get some lore on.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I think they'll have to, especially whenever they go into like what happened between Sabine and Ahsoka and stuff. Like, I mean, I think they'll have to answer that question.
Yeah.
On
sure.
If they, because maybe, failing to find Ezra is why they
split.
Fought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Well, should we get to Balin, Shin, Morgan, and Merrick?
Yep. Yeah, I called him Malik a second ago. Yeah, Merrick is his name. Whoops.
What you got for us, my friend?
Pretty much just the last thing that Balin says, or not, the second to last thing that Balin says in the scene is whenever Morgan asks, who Ahsoka is, and like, well, not who Ahsoka is, but like, do you sense someone coming for us? And he says, yes, and that they're incredibly persistent.
Mm-hmm.
And then Morgan suggests that he's gonna have to kill Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
He just says, "Pity, there are only so few Jedi left."
Right.
And then Morgan says, "Sentimental," and then he says, "Oh, what's the last thing he says?"
Truth.
Truth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me kind of points to, I don't think he's completely evil.
Yeah,
like, I think deep down he cares about the Jedi Order.
I think so. A tick in the Jedi. Shut your face. Sorry. Is that why he wants to go to the world between worlds? So that, because we know there's a little bit of a time travel thing. Does he want to go back and save the Jedi Order? Is that the power he's referring to?
Oh, dude, that's wild. But maybe
sorry,
also
just what you were saying made that kind of click.
With the Jedi tale that he talks about in this episode, what if too that is like a story that all younglings are told and whatnot, but it's actually a real place, and there's actually, like, say, another Jedi Order there.
Ooh, okay.
And he's going to go find them.
That would be sick.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that could go a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I agree. Ooh, I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too.
So I've just got 2 last notes. One is Shin saying there's no way she could have tracked us, which technically is true because Ahsoka was not the one that put the tracking beacon down.
Mm-hmm.
But it also showed just a little bit of arrogance on her side. Again, tick in the dark side.
But also she's young too.
Right.
I mean, she just doesn't realize.
And
also, I mean, like, Ahsoka. I mean, actually, Ahsoka, Anakin. They were a little arrogant when they were young.
yes,
So.
for sure.
Yeah.
And I think the last thing I have is we were talking about the Eye of Sion. I think it's a reference to Darth Sion in the EU. But then
See that?
also, it reminds me of the hyperspace circle thing that Obi-Wan used, and I think Attack of the Clones to his ship couldn't travel through hyperspace, so he had to connect to the circular ring.
Yeah. The Gen 1 Jedi Starfighters can't, and the Gen 2s can't.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's just about the right size to fit a Star Destroyer in it.
Oh, that's interesting.
To give it just enough juice to get between galaxies.
Yeah, because hyperspace runs on, like, their hyperdrive runs on fuel.
Yeah.
And so maybe it works like a rocket, where they burn a bunch of fuel, and then once they get, about halfway there, whatever, they drop it, and then hyperspace jump again.
Yeah. So they specifically said 9, that they were building 9 Super Star Destroyer-sized hyperdrives, or that they had built them. So I'm curious if, like, does the Eye of Sion just need 1, and then the rest are going towards, like, a fleet that they're building? Or is this thing so big that it required all 9 of those hyperdrives?
Yeah, well, and also the other interesting thing is if it does require all 9 hyperdrives to get there and back, how is Ahsoka and everybody going to get there? Right. I think they might have to sneak on something, which that would create a whole other really fun scenario.
Yeah. I agree. And, like, so I'm guessing either Ahsoka and them go, and then they come back, or they fail to stop the Eye of Sion and, like, are just kind of stuck there, unable to... Like, that might be the depressing ending of this season is, like, they can't stop it and it leaves without them. And then the next season will start with, Morgan coming back with our boy Thrawn.
Yeah, I will say, though, I don't think it's going to take all season.
Yeah.
I think they're going to jump this season because they reveal it and
really
it's
early.
And it's almost complete. Like, it's, like, pretty much ready to go.
That's
like, they might need a couple more cores.
That is a really
good
point. So
honestly, I'm pretty much sticking to my guns of the, about halfway through the season.
Yeah.
I think episode 4 is when they're going to jump.
Yeah. Okay. Hell yeah. I mean, if we get to see Ezra and Thrawn, a lot sooner, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, I mean, I really think so, because I just don't know, because I think next episode, we're probably going to have a conflict where a couple things are going to maybe happen. Either Ahsoka and team needs to get the star map, or they need to figure out the location.
Yeah.
One of those two things has to happen in the next episode or 2.
Yeah.
And then after that, I mean, the next available thing to do is the jump. I mean, like, what else can they really do from the story perspective? So
yeah,
I think episode 4 or 5, we're going to see a jump.
Yeah, no, that I like it. I'm vibing with it. Yeah. Well, great. Do you have anything else?
No, I don't.
Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Animal Squadron. We will be back next week, also talking about Ahsoka. So freaking excited. If you want to be a part of this conversation, you can email us at animalsquadron@gmail.com. Again, that is animalsquadron@gmail.com. If you're listening somewhere where you can leave a review, we'd love to hear from you, and that helps us out a ton. And if you're listening on Spotify, the question of the week will just be a simple, what did you think of this episode of Ahsoka? For the Animal Squadron, this has been Mother Goose.
And Lowtech.
See you, everybody.
Adios.